Genji Tracer.
Yeah.
And now standard is just 3-3 with a Ryan and a Zen. So
there was also double sniper back then, right? You had Hanzo, Widowmaker, a lot of that. But, 3-3 has been the flavor for quite some time now, for almost 8 months. Yeah, exactly. There we go. We're that connected right now. We've gone through so much goats. We just know. We can count down the days and the hours.
Here's a super hot take. I actually really enjoy goats.
I do too.
I really do. So.
Like World Cup, even around then, like it was really fresh to watch. Watching like Germany play was also great. Yeah. But it's not, World Cup. It's collegiate here, and these teams are fighting for one of 8 slots to compete at the Collegiate Esports Championships presented by ESPN. That's going to be taking place in May. Now, this is huge because in the past, TESPA has only hosted 4 teams for LAN. And so now we have doubled the chances for teams to actually get in.
And actually, something I want to, we were talking about this, but I've been talking to a lot of the players, I've been talking to a lot of the coaches, a lot of the management staffs, and something I've heard very consistently is that, there's a level of play when you're in an online tournament where you're just you're going through the motions. It's not like you're not trying, but you're also, kind of, I would say the word is apathetic, just like sort of there. Like you're studying for an exam that you're going to, show up to, but But then when teams heard about the fact that it was an 8-player or 8-team LAN, everything I've heard is that teams were like, we're grinding, we're going hard, we're playing very, very hard for this. We want to make it to that LAN environment, and that has always been something to me that's been so exciting. It's tough to understate. I think it's tough to understate just how much LAN means to teams, to players specifically. It's an experience you don't really get anywhere else, and so it has been super gratifying watching these players just give it their all day in, day out when they get to with the promise of making it in the round of if they can make it past the round of 16.
And that is very important, right? Because a lot of these players have prioritized putting their education, putting their schoolwork ahead of maybe possibly their aspirations for going pro. But here we are on Hanamura, and it is going to be Ohio State on the defense here. They do have that made defense coming out, but it's going to be the quad DPS for Iowa.
Interesting that it's a blind opening from University of Iowa, that they go with the quad DPS, because again, we talked about this with range damage. Oh, that's an aggressive pile driver in on the main body of OSU, and already they're breaking that formation, the May wall crumbling right away.
Oh, Baked Potato did not get frozen up, so he's able to roll out freely here. Could have been punished, but they did not have the time on. Respawn is currently hacked on up, and so we're seeing Baked Potato try to go in, but he was orbed up. And you gotta be careful. K Konak, we saw the kind of presence he has on the last 2 maps, and he's already at 63% towards his trance.
I think, ironically, you want to be a little bit slower if you're University of Iowa, right? Because even though this is a hyper-aggressive comp, and they're going to continue rain and spam, you want to pressure... this is just a reset. Yeah, this is a reset. K Konak, ooh. He comes in clutch, and that's going to have to be a reset now for University of Iowa. But to the point I was making earlier, you want to force... this guy's just been on a tear, Jameson.
Yeah, I want you to finish your point. I really do. But K Konak is not allowing that to happen, just like he's not allowing anyone to touch that point.
Oh, that is fantastic. We'll try one more time. Okay. You want to pressure them into a really tight area where they take a ton of spam and then they can just go down easily instead of playing super, super aggressively and then getting caught out. But unfortunately, K Konak just said no and had to reset now. He has Transcendence before ASD's even 70% to EMP. That's massive.
And yeah, he's still so far away. 63% as he's trying again. Early trance coming out, and so I guess he thought there was, of course, that EMP. It's Raffle Hazard with a huge boop onto BM Pool. That's going to force out a lot of ultimates now. But there's the barrage. There's all the DPS ultimates coming out from the side of Iowa. But it's not a clean team fight win yet. Prozity's still on the point. He will get cleaned up.
Blinks out.
The slow grind has finally worked out for Iowa. They're starting to make progress on point A.
And the way Assault works means that they're going to get this point A, but it costs them a ton to get there. I think if you're University of Iowa now, you have the EMP, so you keep that, but you probably, you probably switch here. It looks like they're going to stay the composition they're running, but indoors of Hanamura can be so tough to get your DPS.
We got a point.
I'm not sure this is necessarily a fantastic choice. They do have the EMP though, so this could be a combination of shutting down the supports very early on.
But K Konak is a force that we do really have to worry about. And there it is. The EMP does not connect onto the supports. It does connect onto Prosody, though. So that's huge. That's a sound barrier. Not committed. But it's a 2-for-1 exchange. Shadow and Skurs going down. And again, it's K Konak on that high ground. Someone needs to dislodge this Zenyatta, or he's going to get free damage off.
One thing to note about K Konak is just how steady his aim is. You know, it's easy for Zens to pump damage into tanks because they're super large hitboxes, right? But one thing K Konak is doing is he's sniping Pharahs out of the air, and that's so difficult, as we all know. So for
sniping
Konak
Pharahs, sniping Tracers, we saw him sniping Lucio's also.
He's just been an absolute monster. So just a highlight on his play. And okay, that's a good start though. That's a really good start. One player down for free.
Damage boosted Pharah will one-shot the Tracer there. She's so squishy now. Okay, Konak's still here on the high ground as Baked Potato using that pile driver, but isn't able to dislodge him again. They need to focus on him as he's still here. He has a Transcendence. Will be able to top off BM Pool. No real pressure on the point quite yet. As the sound barrier does come out, they've lost respawn, but they've got the firepower to win this out. And now it's 4 minutes left for Iowa to try and get point B.
You're not even upset that he used that sound barrier there, because it's a one alt-type win, right? And even though you arguably didn't need it, it's better to have it and definitely win out the fight, like use it and definitely win out the fight, than perhaps, you know, save it and maybe lose. So I like the sound barrier usage there from Prosody. It shows proactivity. It shows thinking about the game, and it's a good read for me. That being said, now Halthapor has switched over to the Ashe, so we're again seeing a solo support. It's just the Mercy. I would like to see a little bit more aggression here, a little bit more consistent play on one of the targets. And right now, the good power driver Baked Potato, but there's no follow-up yet again.
A lot of people love
so he's like 93%.
Takes out 3. It starts off by taking out K Konak, and he was the one with the Transcendence. Ruffle has it now with the 4-piece here. And this might be the snowball to actually capture point B with plenty of time. Second tick almost secured now as the minefield is even going to be in here. K Konak will be able to go in with that Transcendence and clear the majority of the minefield. And now here comes the reinforcement. Bob out now as all the ultimates are being committed into this Halthapor. We'll be able to play on the high ground. There it is. They are getting the cleanups. The self-destruct isn't enough at all. BM Cool even hacked up there. Isn't able to get back into mech. And with Bob, they clean up 3. And Iowa will be able to take point B.
Yes.
3 cheers for Bob. Bob did something. Good job, Bob. He comes in with the 3K.
See, but now this is just like 2 rounds in this third
if you've got
set.
No shields, if you've got no matrix. But it is fun nonetheless to watch
we
the
haven't won
Bob
the whole
tear
point
it up.
yet.
And they get the completion with a relatively acceptable time bank, too. 2 minutes, 50 seconds. That's not something to scoff at. And so University of Iowa, they complete the DPS run.
Our Roth Hazard is our best guy,
and then Blake's number 2. I find this encouraging, I think, for University of Iowa to show that they can continue to play. Even at a point, I would say, is not necessarily specifically designed for the kind of style that we're running. Again, there's a lot of overhead, so the Pharah is not really in a skybox, which makes her a little bit more you can aggress on her as diva a little bit, but they shut her down. They do a great job. University of Iowa continue to play the style they want to play, and I think this is the first mark of where OSU has had to play outside of what they want to, right? They put the Tracer on, and it doesn't really seem to find as much value as they wanted to, I think.
See, but like I can't tell who he is when they're flying around.
With that triple DPS composition, and it paid off. That was a huge barrage coming out from Raffle Hazard, finally able to break open point B. You had mentioned with valuable time on the board, 2 minutes and 49 seconds here. And so now the pressure really is on Ohio. They are sitting, of course, on match point, but this is the window for Iowa to get back into this series.
This is, that never say die attitude we mentioned on Kings Row. It continues here. The game is not over until it is over. And University of Iowa, they're willing to fight tooth and nail for it. And I really appreciate that. Setting up with Raffle Hazard on the Pharah, as it looks like the 3-3 from OSU. And walking up. Oh, Dynamite coming in. Samuel, bubble too early.
We did talk about the changes to armor and, of course, how Dynamite works on it. Ooh, you have a separation between the members. But Iowa actually relent on some of their pressure and allow them to regroup here on the right-hand side. A lot of damage coming across. So many members low. They don't have the heals quite yet. Prosody doesn't have the heal boost up, and so respawn will fall.
This is such a dangerous choice to play inside a small enclosed area against Safara, because not only is she going to get spam, but she's going to get spam on multiple targets without even really having to generally aim. And that's not to say, obviously, that Raffle Hazard can't aim. It's just that he doesn't need to. Okay, Konak, please let me finish my point before you end up sniping someone else out of the air. Another great kill.
And they're able to cancel the res. As Shadow tried to go for it, we had the Diva coming in. It was BM Pool with the boosters to actually bump her out of that AoE area for it. And so now Ohio charge forward, surge forward onto the point, clean up the members of Iowa, and they'll be able to move forward onto point B with a huge time bank, almost 7 minutes.
My complaint, by the way, about Konak is meant in jest. I actually continue to enjoy watching him pop off against the Faras. 6 minutes 30, as you said. Alpha Core actually going to switch over to the Mei here. This is now going to be a tank-based composition, essentially, with the Pharah. Again, though, you only have the Lucio for healing the tank, so curious choice. And the Mei wall's late.
Well, the barrage comes out, but a lot of it is blocked there. So now the sound barrier will be used by Ohio as they are all on to the point, forcing the members of Iowa to fight down here too. Great focus fire down to take up Baked Potato, and now Samuel with 100% charge is going to start to be able to melt down the members as they exchange the Earth Shatters out, and that is going to beat Iowa, holding on to point B.
Yeah, OSU, Samuel just going to stand at point here.
Yeah.
Oh, are they going to stagger him out?
Yes.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
He already has Graviton Surge, so it's no harm, no foul. Yeah, no. Usually why you don't stagger anyone but the Pilot Diva is because you don't want them to gain ult charge, right? But when you already know he has Graviton, it doesn't matter. So just keep him alive for a little bit longer, stagger him out. One thing that happens in that last fight is, unfortunately, Konak and Prosody actually layer their support ultimates, so they use both support ultimates simultaneously, and that the more delayed effect of that Iowa was able to bring in was more effective, obviously. And it helps that when both slides shatter each other, both go down, which is not very often in useful.
Take a look at the poke coming out from Raffle Hazard, though. He used his barrage in that last fight, now has it once again. Great wall along with the charge, and there is the barrage. It's going to clean up to Raffle Hazard. Able to win out this team fight for his team pretty handily there. A little bit of delay coming out from Ohio, but again, it's fine for them because they do have a huge time make, right? They still have 5 minutes to work with, but they haven't gotten any progress on the point quite yet.
No, and on top of that, it's a good trading of ultimates. Yet again, it's good ult economy from University of Iowa. Samuel uses the Graviton Surge, but the beat's there, the barrage is there. They get the kills on top of that. And so Samuel's going to switch over here to the Sombra. In fact, we're going, Konak throws away the Transcendence. He switches over to the Ana.
It is surprising, but there are a lot of salts coming out also as Respawn now has gone over to the Tracer. Samuel, like you had mentioned, off the going over to the Sombra himself here. So we'll see if he can actually get a good hack off now. They try to dive into the back line. The Earth Shatter, the majority of it getting blocked, but Respawn will fall. The Blizzard is here, and it covers the majority of the point, but the fight is taking place off of it right now as Samuel is able to clean up Skurs and get back with, of course, his translocator now. Still, though, the longer this team fight works out, the better it is for the defense. As I say that, though, Samuel gets another cleanup here. Raffle Hazard trying his best to take out Konak, but he might actually win out this fight. He does actually exchange 1-for-1 with him. But, again, it should favor the defense. But, man, take a look at the claws on Ohio State. They are tenacious as Respawn has already cleaned up both supports. And now the Graviton Surge, but there's no one there to follow up on it. Baked Potato swaps over to that Wrecking Ball. And that might be the desperation chase they needed. But an EMP out from Samuel. This is taking so long, and it might actually just be eating into the timing of Ohio here as Skurs cleans up Respawn.
This could have been so much cleaner for both teams, in all honesty. That is, you hate to see the rare, incredibly staggered both sides, right? But as Assault goes, it's going to favor the defense. And what ends up happening there is that I actually thought that Skurs would have been a more impact there because they throw away the Transcendence with Graviton Surge still available for Skurs. Unfortunately, he only uses Graviton when his entire team is dead. The real MVP of that fight is Baked Potato. He hits a brilliant pile driver, which knocks Prosty up in the air. His sound barriers never actually land. And so no support ultimates, 2 support ultimates get thrown away, and that's the one fight.
Another barrage coming out from Raffle Hazard here, and BN Pool was not able to cover that, and so Konak will go down. Raffle Hazard dropped a little bit low, but it's the Primal Rage out from Delhi to actually take out ASD. That's going to be 2 members gone now for the defense as Respawn finds another one here, and this might be it. 1 tick secured here. He's about to win the Tracer duel, but it's Prosody actually to get in on that. Second tick coming on in, and they need to get a point. They need to get someone on there, and the sound barrier is there. 2 members onto the point, but the EMP strips away everything. All the shields are gone. We've got the Desperation Mage Edge coming up from Ruffle Hazard. They're trying to take him out, but the ice block is there. Skurs taking out Kate Konak, but they need more. They need more than that, and they are not getting it. It's all delays now. They're sitting at 96.9%. BM Cool cleaning up one more with that pulse bomb. That's going to be Respawn clinching it for them with a very similar time bank as Iowa.
That being said, they actually stagger out nearly a full minute from the clock from OSU to University of Iowa. Yeah, that is a significant amount of time. They started that fight at around 2:53 and now below 1:53. So that's, quite a bit of time just taken off on a great stagger. I think University of Iowa is a little bit cleaner, and you never know. That could have been a hold, but unfortunately, that's a different universe. And so in our timeline, we are headed to a second round of attack. University of Iowa will get the defense, obviously, with the better time bank, as mentioned. And I think scrappy has to be the word to describe these two teams, because the fights have just gone for so long that you kind of expect, one team to get an edge, and then it suddenly shifts back in the opposite direction. So both these teams, the DPS play that's coming through has been exciting, has really been exciting, has really been a difference maker, I think, in how this match has gone on.
It really has. It's kind of like the story of Overwatch since the beginning, right? Like anytime there's like a new patch, a lot of people love to experiment or just go into their comp games just to play DPS. So you would always, of course, have that kind of trope of like triple DPS, quad DPS on patch day. But this might be one of those patches where it really is legitimate because of how much strength has been put into it and how much of the strength of GOATs has been removed. As we're seeing on the defense, once again from Iowa, they're going for a triple DPS composition, but there's no Ash. It's actually going to be Skurs on Soldier 76, who received a sizable buff in this patch.
Yeah, no, 20 damage, has better, engage and disengage potential with his sprint change where he readies up after sprinting much faster, and of course the accuracy that he now has. So he can be a very deadly character. Another Maywall sectioning out the supports though.
Oh, Skurs almost getting taken down there, but the Mercy Pocket is there to keep him alive for now. It was really close until he jumped on top of him, but it's going to be a 2-for-1 exchange here. And so the defense will take that. They even get the DMAC, and so they are losing the power of the offense. They have to reset quickly because their time is already halfway gone.
This is such a good stagger out, too. If they can get Procity, that's a risky play, Baked Potato. Can you get it? He does. Okay. The fact that he gets that kill is so massive because now this is even more time taken off the clock. Deli has another, an extra 5 seconds that you have to wait for it. And that buys time for less than a minute remaining here. Alpha Core switches to a Winston. Okay. No May. So now we're seeing a double tank affair. 2 main tanks realistically here from our defense.
Yeah, he was returning from spawn. He just wanted to get there in time. Didn't think he could do it with the May, but Respawn now over on this Widowmaker, trying his best to find anything. But it's going to be Deli once again jumping on top of Skurs and taking him out first in this fight, and that is huge. Shadow doesn't look like he wants to go for that res. They find the second kill. Half a core going way too deep now, and Shadow gets focused down, and that is going to be point A opened up for Ohio State.
OSU, though, it wasn't clean, and
19 seconds, so.
Actually, this is probably the best possible timing for University of Iowa, because not only is the point to be captured, but it's going to allow respawns for University of Iowa, right? So even though they gave up point A, they still will get into a better defensive position here. And 30 seconds. OSU has one fight.
They have
only
important.
one fight.
It wasn't overtime respawns, and so, of course, they're not going to be punished with that snowball. And so now we're seeing Ohio State University making their approach on the right-hand side. They've got the Empress site. They have all the information that they could really work with. As we have a sound barrier coming on out. Forces out the Valkyrie, but here is the barrage. Most of it eaten up as Kate Konak will take out Ruffle Hazard once again. Ever his nemesis. Shadow will be able to get the res back onto him, and he doesn't even get the punch for that. Minefield onto the point here, but here's the self-destruct to cover it all. Get the majority of the minefield now, and it looks like OSU, we were talking about the snowball on to point B. They might actually be able to convert as overtime does tick away here. They're going to be able to secure a tick soon. We'll see if Iowa can try and contest. We have Baked Potato once again. He gets booped off. He gets focused down. He will fall. And OSU might be able to complete this out. But Emergency Moira coming out from Ruffle Hazard, but he's already dropped down to half HP. Stomped on Deli, and OSU completed out.
Oh, no.
OSU had one chance to get it done, and they do. They run in and provide just good zoning, realistically, from OSU that prevents University of Iowa from setting up the way they want to. They take that double cap again. And now University of Iowa, 2 minutes, 50 seconds. They have to complete the map if they want to keep this one going. University of Iowa, just so unfortunate that they were unable to really convert on a kill. It was a really, really strong dive from OSU onto the back line of University of Iowa. And that means that you're going to take 2 down out of the fight, and then you're in control, right? The nano boost. Konak went down to about 5 HP at one point in that fight and stayed alive, which I think is so massive because the nano boost gets committed, and then now your Winston is much more aggressive, then has primal rage, and that's an effective, an effective 1,000, almost 2,000 HP on the battlefield for your team. So OSU clutch when you need them to be, and they complete the map out.
Now remember, with this victory, they will be moving on to the round of 16. There's just one short defense away. 2 minutes and 49 seconds left on the clock for Iowa. And of course, if they get point A, that's going to be another 30 seconds. But ostensibly, really, honestly, it's not that much time to work with. And it was a real big snowball and huge clutch plays coming out from OSU that really even allowed them to complete out this map. It was slow goings for Iowa on their initial offense to even take point A here.
Yeah, for sure. And now the fact that they've been continuously running this DPS means that OSU has scouted them out, right? They know what they're going to run, so they switched to the dive composition, the Widow composition, especially to put some pressure on the Pharah. And this could be, there it is.
Oh, that is the pick you were looking for as that Widowmaker, and he tries to cover the res himself, but during the meantime, remember your primary healer is that Mercy. When she's rezzing, she's not healing, and so the majority of Iowa will fall, and now they're down to 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
An early fight, and they win it out clean. So the thing is, though, the pick-off was very early, and now this calls for the switches for University of Iowa. For University of Iowa, the pick-off was so early on that what they do is they just die. They just end the fight. They know they have to lose out cleanly, so they get more time on the clock to try and take a retake. And now they're going over to the 3-3. Symmetra, we'll see. But the teleporter into point to try and get past them. They don't
right
lose
on.
Okay.
Oh, they lose Shadow. SPN Pool goes instantly on in. And this is a team we were talking about it during the break when we saw it on Kings Row that instantly reacted to that teleporter. The Pool does get demagged here, and that's actually pretty huge. But Respawn once again coming in clutch with that Widowmaker. No one's able to get onto him, so he's getting 3 damage off right now. And Samuel is there with the cleanup on that Tracer. Now we're down to 1 minute and 15 seconds. Iowa, their chances of keeping the series alive are now starting to dwindle.
What I would like to see here from Iowa is that you have to keep the Ana, unfortunately, because she has nano boost, and that could be a win condition, but you need the Brigitte, I think, from Shadow. You need that stun on the Tracer. You need her to not be in your backline. That being said, there were game-changing ultimates taken away in that last fight. They did take the Primal Rage, and they did take the Pulse Bomb. They are going to Infrasight, but this could be, if they can get this nano boost on a good target, they can be a very deadly play here.
Right, they do go ahead and teleport once again, and Deli jumps on in. He's got the nano boost, and he's starting to melt the members. But will fall, though, to ASD. Still, this team has the coverage. They're going to get the team wiped. Luckily for Iowa, and I say luckily, but this is their last shot now. It's now down to 20 seconds. They have one more team fight. Try and keep the series alive.
And the Alpha Core has to go over to the Moira, in my opinion, because they need the mobility from the Moira to avoid the flankers. They bring the Brigitte out finally. So Shadow is on the Brigitte away from the Symmetra. They will give them a little stun against the mainline flankers, but they need to get to point. 7 seconds remaining.
Oh, Kelly, he has his Primal Rage too, so he can just play Bodyguard here. Or Shadow comes out and looks like he'll ship the solo Shadow onto him, and no one's able to get onto the points because of all that disruption. Ohio State will take the 3-0 and move on to the round of 16, getting one step closer to making to land.
That was that last fight for University of Iowa. It's a rock and a hard place, right? What can you do? You have to go into the Sound Barrier. You have to go into the Primal Rage. You have to go into the line of sight of the Widowmaker. But you need to touch the point because there's only 10 seconds remaining. Unfortunately, they get zoned out and just taken away. And that will, of course, end the map. But, you know, University of Iowa, they made OSU sweat, I think, right? I don't think this was as heavily one-sided as the map score might suggest, because University of Iowa, with some of their crazy, with some of their unique, some of their experimental, I guess is a word I would use for them, compositions, they made OSU have to actually work really hard for these victories.
I'm never going to fault a team for trying out these wonky compositions. I love seeing
It's
that
exciting.
in Overwatch. You know, having watched Overwatch for 4 years now, right, since beta, like it's been great to see all the different kinds of compositions coming out, and especially
honestly,
right now with this patch, it's great.
Speaking of beta, it genuinely reminds me of early Overwatch, where people were just trying things out for the love of the game, right?
Yeah.
People weren't quite sure what would click yet, so they would just try things.
Remember the original 222?
Yeah, double Lucio, double Tracer. Was it double Winston, I think?
Winston, yeah.
Yeah,
Or sometimes Zarya also, because her
Yeah.
shields were 400 HP. Her barriers were 400 HP each.
Man, that was insane. Oh, good old days in Overwatch lore. But yeah, no, to the modern day, the fact that we're getting a callback to those beta days when Overwatch was, so fresh, it's really exciting. So I fully agree with you. Seeing these crazy compositions, seeing these experimental things, seeing these players go at it and really try and find new stuff that works is always so much fun. So shout out to Iowa, University of Iowa. They do take the loss, unfortunately, but I think they should be pleased with their performance, especially in this match and in the season.
And yeah, especially this season, like you had rightly mentioned, right? Their first time making it top 32 nationally in TESPA is a tough feat, because as we weed out the teams, right, as we get through this bracket, the competition is incredibly hard. So many of these teams have support of basically their faculty, of their campus. There are varsity programs out there that do offer scholarships, and a lot of these teams, it's not the same level of support. So congratulations to them. Hopefully, they can get a TESPA chapter out there, find more support for it, find more faculty support. If you're looking for faculty support in sports, just any kind of help, make sure you visit TESPA.org. This is where a lot of this came from, right? The grassroots collegiate esports experience. They'll help you spot out everything you need to actually start a chapter on your own campus. But LaFawn, any final thoughts about this match before I actually have to leave?
I think the only thing I can say is thank you, because we get to watch cool Overwatch. We get to watch teams having so much fun playing this game, and it really is. If the teams are having fun, I'm having fun when I get to cast it, right? So that's all I've got. It's been a fun journey. Ode to Overwatch. Yeah,
it's been a fun journey. I mean, you and I have been here in the collegiate scene for a while. You used to coach. You were on Carleton. They're doing great this season. Also, I believe they moved on to round of 16. So you must be a happy father yourself, right?
Yeah, to see a program I was once heavily involved with do so well is so fantastic. So, I got to see it in the last couple of seasons, and now these players get to see it for themselves in the first hand, and that there's no better feeling. There really isn't. You get to see a program take off and really flourish, and it's very gratifying.
Yeah, it honestly is very gratifying. So that's going to do it for me, but let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule, because we do have 2 more matches. This is just the first half of the day.
All right, good job, Blake.
The second half, it is